Good afternoon once again. Check. At the outset, I take note of the dignified virtual presence of Shri Gyaneshwar Kumar Singh, Director General and CEO, Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, and Shri Bala Murugan D, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and Shri Uttam Sahu, Regional Director, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. I also warmly acknowledge the presence of Shri Jayant Arya, Registrar of Companies, CA Mayur Agrawal, Chairman EIRC, CS Anuj Saraswat, Regional Council Member ICSI, representatives from ICMAI, CS Mamta Binani, former President ICSI, representatives from industry chambers, professional bodies, corporates, startups, intermediaries, and all esteemed participants joining us today. On behalf of the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, it is my privilege to welcome you all to the Kolkata edition of the National Stakeholder Consultation Series on Ease of Doing Business under the Companies Act 2013. This consultation series is being undertaken by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs through IICA as part of larger reform-oriented dialogue aimed at strengthening the MCA filing architecture through simplification, rationalization, digital integration, and stakeholder-centric compliance reforms aligned with the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. Today's deliberations are intended to be practical, participative, and solution-oriented. Through focused discussions on incorporation, annual compliance, dormancy, and exit frameworks, we hope to collectively contribute towards building a more efficient, intelligent, and trust-based corporate consultation. We are also grateful to the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for partnering with us as co-host and venue partner for this important consultation. May I now request Shri Bala Murugan sir to kindly deliver the virtual special address. Please switch. Just a second. Yeah.
Sir, you are on. You can speak now, sir. We are not audible.
Unmute. Unmute. Sir, we are not able to hear you.
Connect.
Yes, now we can hear you, sir. Didi sir, can you hear me? Are we audible? Network issue है यहाँ पे.
Video.
Yes, sir. You are audible now.
Can I go ahead? Yeah, thank you. Wasting time, let me extend my warm welcome to all the participants today, and also respected DG and CEO IICA, particularly to the entire team Garimaji and then the entire organization IICA for doing this exercise on behalf of Ministry of Corporate Affairs. As I said, I'm not going to sit in between you and then the entire deliberations. Already the speakers mentioned about the purpose of today's meeting. Ministry of Corporate Affairs, after the enactment of Companies Act in 2013, uh, is doing its best to make required amendments in the act and as well as in the rules for ease of doing business. So you know that after 2013, we made many amendments in 2015, 17, 19, 20. So four amendments were done in the act. Decriminalization was carried out to decriminalize procedural and technical law errors. And subsequently, you also know that again, why I'm mentioning this. I'll be requesting all of you to also give feedback on those proposed amendments which got introduced as a bill, Corporate Laws Amendment Bill, proposed amendments both Companies Act as well as in LLP Act. Already in the bill is in Parliament, got referred to Jan Parliamentary Committee. So I'll be requesting all of you to go through that bill and give your comments. Coming back to the purpose of today's meeting, in the process, we also made many amendments in the rules. For example, to give you example, recently we amended rules to do away with annual KYC requirement of directors. So till last year, the annual QIC requirement is a mandatory thing. So we have done away with that and then we made it as once in 3 years. Same way we expanded the scope of small companies definition. So continuously efforts are being made. This particular exercise is to try and understand how the e-forms which are being filed by companies can be rationalized. Particularly, I'll restrict my 2 3 more minutes on that particular aspect only. In companies under Companies Act, we have 117 e-forms, 117. And then in LLP 23, total 140 e-forms are there. Out of 117, 12 are related to, 1956 Act. That makes 105. Three are non-statutory forms. That brought it down to 102. The input from today, from all of you in today's workshop is how these forms can be further rationalized from 102. Let's say we may bring it to 50, 60 with the reasons. So again, they beautifully divided all these, forms in three categories for entry, one category for operation, second and third exit. So in a very, very structured way, ISCA designed every questionnaire and then feedback is being received. It is already published in the portal to receive your feedback. So why we want to do it? Again, for, to make life easy for the companies, to increase the compliance, as well as reduce the compliance burden, because still we are at almost 60% of the companies filing their returns, annual return and financial statement. Still, we have 40% of companies now doing this. That's the reason we came out with the scheme also recently to encourage companies to do their filing, pending filings. By doing all this exercise, by reducing the forms, by not asking companies to fill in the same information again when we have that information. So all those concepts have already been explained to you, and in further, Garibaji is going to make a presentation. DG ISCS sir is going to speak. They will explain all those concepts. Uh, just to mention one more thing, what we have done in this process as a starting point, we have already published proposed amendments in the incorporation rules. We published this for receiving public comments. We received public comments. We are going to finalize that. Uh, in this process, we have already reduced almost 12 number of forms into 3. So that is the kind of exercise we are doing. The last point I would like to mention is, because all of you are very important stakeholders in this process. For name reservation and incorporation related, we updated all our SOPs and then we published for the first time uh, detailed guideline, guiding note for the stakeholders in the website. Common kind of errors you are making, what kind of precaution one has to follow. Everything is being done, and in name reservation and incorporation also, we are making our best effort. In today's workshop, I am very sure the feedback which is going to come from all of you is going to be extremely valuable. We value all the feedback which we receive from you, and then accordingly we make changes. All these feedbacks are going to be useful because we are looking at bringing all those changes in the form of reducing the number of forms, removing the data redundancy, and making it easy in V3. So that exercise is on. We'll make sure that all your feedback is taken into consideration while finalizing the amendments in the rules, and also if required, those suggestions will be useful if there is any requirement for amendment in the act also. I stop here. Once again, I thank all of you for coming all the way to participate. I take this opportunity to again thank IICA and also the regional office, RD, ROC office, and particularly professional institutions, IIC, ICII, ICSI, and other institutions who are helping in organizing this workshop in a successful way. Thank you so much. I stop here and will be looking forward to receive your suggestions.
Thank you, sir. May I now
Thank you.
request DG and CEO Shri Gyaneshwar sir to deliver virtual special address.
Good afternoon. Are you able to hear me? Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
So distinguished participants, RD Eastern Region, Mr. Sahu, ROC, Mr. Jayantaria, Mayank Agarwal, Regional Head of ICAI, Garimaji, and my colleague in the ministry, Balamurganji. So this exercise, Balamurganji has already given the broad framework. He has expanded the mandate from form to suggesting something which can be also be useful, your feedback for amendment in the act and rules. So our canvas is very huge and it covers everything. So what I will do, I will try to set the context why we are doing this exercise. This exercise is important because, as we know, when we started this journey of ease of doing business in 2014, our rank was 142. And when this World Bank ranking stopped 2020, it was 63. So our effort is how we can get this kind of a framework where if anyone wants to do the business, any stakeholder who is interacting with us, his experience is good, and we have to reduce overall compliance burden. There is a data, we have to check this data. Anyone who wants to start a business, MSME, particularly in the manufacturing sector, there are 1400 compliances and the cost is annual 13 to 17 lakhs. So we have to reduce this entry barrier. We have to promote entrepreneurship because we are the third largest ecosystem for a startup. We have to create a system where entry, exit, and the maintenance all are seamless. And how we can do it? This stakeholder conference is important because you are the practitioner. You deal with the forms every day. When we discuss this issue with our experts in the management and corporate governance, those who are teaching in the IMs, till now, they were saying forms is not our domain. We work at the principle level, philosophical level. But our understanding is, after a lot of discussion, they have realized this is the most important pain points because policy is important, act is important, rule is important, but the forms is the way we interact with the larger stakeholder. So we have to look at how we are going to rationalize the form, how we are going to use the digital technology to make the experience better and reduce the time and cost both. So this is the exercise. This is not happening only for us. This is our goal for Viksit Bharat. And for Viksit Bharat, we have set the target 30 trillion economy. How 30 trillion economy is possible unless we reduce the compliance burden. So what is happening throughout the country, all department of central government, state government, they are undertaking the structure exercise. They are looking at their rules. They are looking at their forms. Income tax has recently concluded. I will come to income tax later, what they have done it. So I will give you a data till November 2025, more than 47,000 compliances have been reduced. You imagine the rules, how it was difficult to do business. 47,000 compliances have been reduced, including 16,108 compliances simplified, and 22,287 digitalized, 4,458 decriminalized, 4,217 compliances have been removed. So the idea is, if you go through the data, there are three emerging things. One is deregulation, decriminalization, and digitalization. This is the framework for Viksit Bharat. And under this framework, we are trying to assess each firm, what kind of a function they are trying to do, whether it can be done with some another firm. And this is the framework we have to work for all what Balaji has said, 102, 104 forms. This is a challenge for us, challenge for the stakeholder, challenge for the practitioners, without compromising overall framework of the corporate governance. How through technology we can do the oversight and we can reduce the forms and the compliance. You may be aware, I'm trying to put the context so that we should not feel that we are only doing it. This is coming from Honorable Prime Minister's appeal to the society. Honorable Finance Minister, last time in the budget speech also she mentioned about trust-based governance, trust-based regulation. So all are connected. You may be aware what exercise we are undertaking. Same exercise was done by our Ministry of Labor. So there were 29 central level laws were there that has been codified into the fore. Similarly, RBI has done this exercise. There were 9,000 circulars and guidelines. And what RBI has done it, try to see what is relevant, what is not relevant, and they have reduced or declared absolute 5,673 the circulars, and they have compiled this 7,000 circulars in 238 functional specific master circulars. So our role, I was talking to some of you in Chennai also and Bangalore also. They were saying, now we have to undertake this exercise, and we are very privileged in the ministry to have three professional institutes. They are the think tank, ICSI, ICAI, and ICMI. This is the time we can also undertake how we can also come up with not only rationalization of forms, also coming up with concise circulars which are important. GST also, you might have seen, there were lots of GST slabs. Now it is more or less two. Third one is exceptional. Similarly, income tax rules have been notified 2026, and this is effective from 1st April 2026. And what they have done in income tax compliance, they have reduced the form from 399 to 190, rules from 511 to 353, and they took it a special care. The language should be simple, and they have given the guidance note also. Recently, you might have seen Jan Biswas bill was passed by Parliament, in which 79 central acts were covered, and it amended around 717 provisions, decriminalized 67 provisions. So this is running theme throughout the country. This data I was trying to give so that we realize the exercise we are doing, this is of national importance, and this is the way we can encourage investment in the country. We can get the foreign investment. We can encourage the youth to go for starting their own business without thinking about the compliance. We were interacting with, I am Professor Mr. Ramon, he's a part of the committee. He was saying that when I talk to my students, why don't you start your own business? First idea is, who will look after the compliance? We have to remove that barrier. That compliance is the minimum, and this is required only to facilitate, only to oversee the corporate governance framework. Second, there are certain philosophy we have to be mindful of the fact when we are trying to do our reason for form rationalization. That is principle. Why we are talking about the principle? there are 15, 16 registers. We are maintaining it manually. How the world has moved. Most of the part of the world, including the Singapore, these are digital registry, and these are digital registry at some website. Can we do it so that it will save so much for for our business to maintain all those registers? Because world is moving. Similarly, we talk about STP. STP, world is following a new system. That system is called notification. Says it is STP is there. The moment you try to give anything to the registry, it is taken on record, because idea is trust based. We trust our ecosystem, we trust our business, we trust our professional. So notification is the norm, approval is the exception. Similarly, in India also we are talking about our new framework of common identifier. Somewhere it's a PAN is emerging. Ministry of IT has announced it. We have to look forward for a common identifier, because Singapore did it long back, 2009 itself. There's a unique identity number. And that number, 55 government departments are trying to match their transactions. Similarly, there are other countries, they have done in similar way. New Zealand has done it. Even UK has done it. So how we can handle this situation? This is important, that if you ask anyone to give same kind of a compliance for all the portal, a regulated portal, it is a difficult, it is a cumbersome, it is a costly. So we have to develop a system, API based system, how the regulators can share the data. And we call it in a management single source of truth. We call it the once only principle. If you give the data once, you are giving data to the state. All organs of the state, whether it's income tax, whether it's our GST, all are connected. They are different organs. They should have the ability to share the data. This is a challenge for IT system also. We have invested so much in our legacy system. At the same time, we have to try to find out some ways how the system will talk to each other. Then there is another feedback we have received from our stakeholder. Can't we have a compliance dashboard? Many times you are caught unaware, like you have to give the business after once you register a company, then you have to give under form 20A that business has commenced. Many times you forget it. There are so many compliance, and this is very common that you get reminders. So whenever you open up your system, whether you are a professional linked with a company or the company itself, you will see all the compliance. Similarly, can we leverage IT for pre-filling forms, or trying to develop a system like name reservation? Bala Murugan Saab was talking about, we have circulated the draft. Can we do a system where before it done, with everything is already available? So n number of things. Similarly, there was a suggestion for compliance for grievances also. Can we have a dashboard? When you open up, you should know, like passport seva, there are n number of sevas where if you have, once you have logged, you are able to get the feedback that where is the complaint, whatever is happening. This is some way empowering the stakeholder, and in management we are calling these days is democratization of regulation. We always, at Ministry of Corporate Affairs, we always deal with the stakeholder. Now this is a much structured way of getting the feedback, because we want that all your input should be factored. There is another issue that we have to think, how we are going to look after our XBRL data and the data which is available at our portal, because many countries, they have conscious decision. UK is one of them, that this is, we will give the free data. Singapore has decided the hybrid, some data. The philosophy is the data is for the public, the public good data. So we have to also any policy decision. So now we call it the paradigm shift from form to data. Why I'm talking about this? We talk about automatic approval, then the data analytics AI has to work at the back end to see that nobody is playing up with the system. And we have to also, at the same time, when we open up, we have to be also mindful of the fact Data Protection Act also has to be some way kept in mind. You will be surprised, a small country, Estonia, they are having all the queries, only 97% queries are raised through the system itself. They have implemented blockchain, so nobody can change the data. Only 3% are the manual system. So these are the framework. Then we have to look for international best practices. Always we think that we have done so much good about developing our own digital public infrastructure. We can develop something best in the world. But at the same time, there is no harm in looking at what is happening around. And when we try to get the feedback from the participants, most of them, they said that, why you are asking every time so many things? Why not you follow the principles the way the UK registry is working? And they only want confirmation, additional, we call it delta information, only additional information, don't ask everything. Similarly, they have suggested that look at the Singapore, when you are developing your own system, the Singapore, their IT architecture and integration is very, very good. So we have to look for the system and procedures throughout the world, but we have to develop our own system, which should be unique to this country, because one side doesn't fit everyone. So what we are looking at from this kind of a conversation, a stakeholder conversation, you have your pain points. Many times, this is the first time I am not able to join you there personally. I'm interacting with you online. Otherwise, when I interact with you during tea break or lunch, we get a lot of feedback regarding pain point of the present system. Feel free to share. But at the same time, this is an opportunity to design, give a feedback for design and architecture, which should be the future. We are trying to make a house. We are trying to get the feedback. What kind of this architecture would be? We call it V4. We call it new framework for our whole corporate governance, where the act, rules and forms, they act in a such a way that trust-based governance is some way implemented. I was talking to some of the professionals. They were saying this is for the first time, this kind of a structured approach has been taken by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs to respect the wealth creator, respect the professional, and respect the ecosystem. So we have to use technology, we have to use AI, we have to simplify the forms, we have to come with the guidance note, and we have to ensure that anyone coming to our system should have a very good experience, and the cost of compliance has to be reduced. This is important, the last principle, because we are here to listen to you. We have to talk about risk-based auditing. We have to talk about risk-based governance, because if there is no risk, why we are asking that kind of compliances throughout the world? There is a governance framework filing that is called risk and proportionality. In India also, Ministry of Corporate Affairs has taken always timely intervention. The new amendment also talks about making 20 crore paid up capital, 200 crore turnover. So this is, once you are a small company, you get a lot of relaxation. Now we have to think, is there further need? Somewhere in the bill also something has been suggested to come up with based on certain thresholds. Talked about formalization of our MSME. They are saying giving grant, give them equity participation. So equity participation is not possible unless there is a push for formalization. For MSME, if you see the data, most of the system, we have to nudge them, we have to create an ecosystem sciences, because unless they come to the formal system, they will not be able to use or benefit with the easy finance, that is our equity participation. So these are all challenges. So we have to develop. There are some feedback that there should be a totally, not exemptions, not relaxation. There should be totally a different framework for MSME. So we have to discuss, debate what is feasible, what is not feasible. And the last, what Joint Secretary Sahab has said, Balaji has said, this is an opportunity to influence, give your views. Something can be done right now in the form, something will be there for the rules and the act. You have to also give the transition plan, how we can transit. Many of many of the participants, they have said that we can start with small companies, the experiment, so that when we roll out the whole our new framework, new forms, nobody should be having any kind of a difficulty. With that, I will finish. I will be listening to you. Thank you so much for joining, and you have taken so much of pain to assembling, and we look forward very fruitful discussion so that we are benefited from your experience. In the last, I will again Agalji, and when I was there last month, he gave a lot of input. Some of the input I came back, checked up with our registrar CRC. He said these are very good input. And our Adi Saab, he has traveled from Guwahati. Jayant, he has taken so much of pain. And last not the least, my team, Garimaji and his team, they are working very hard. So I wish all of you very fruitful discussion. And by end of the discussion, we will have some concrete suggestion. Calcutta has always been Kolkata intellectual capital. So we'll benefit from your intervention, from your input. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also honored to have the presence, physical presence of Shri Uttam Sahu, sir. Sir, requesting you to kindly deliver special address.
Namaskar, everybody. It gives me immense pleasure to participate in this important stakeholders consultations series, strengthening MCA filing under the Companies Act, organized by the MCA, IICA, and help from the institute, 3 institutes. So I congratulate the organizer for initiating a structured national dialogue on one of the most significant next generation regulatory reforms under the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. Over the last 5 years, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has consistently pursued the objective of balancing ease of doing business with strengthened corporate governance. India's corporate regulatory ecosystems has witnessed a transformational shift from the process-driven administration to the technology-enabled governance. So MCA has undertaken various initiatives to improve ease of doing business in the country. Measure of the initiative undertaken by the MCA, one of the is Spicy Form Plus, Spicy E for Spicy Plus. So it is an integrated form. So at the time of registration, you will get 3-4 registration at a stage, like GST registrations, EPF, ESI registrations, DIN, PAN and a TAN. Ultimately, lastly, you get bank account opening also. So it is a composite form. You can get all the registration at a stage. Earlier, if you go for a GST separate, 15 days, 20 days required. EPF, ESI, again 1 month. So now you have reduced to only 48 hours to 72 hours. So within 72 hours, you can get a company registration along with all registrations. So MCA e-governance project, before if we talk about 1995-2000, so at that time, the registration was taken nearly 1 month time. So after MCA 21 implementation, it was reduced to now 48 hours. So, and by that way, we have processed e-filing of statutory documents, online payments, inspection of company records, and digital approvals. Further, ease of doing business, decriminalization of the offences under the Companies Act. So shifting of many compoundable and procedural offences from the criminal fine to civil penalties. So what is the objective? Objective is to reduce the fear of entrepreneurs for technical defaults. It is a milestone of the MCA. So encourage entrepreneurs how to do the business easily. Next, we have introduced one person OPC company. In OPC company, we facilitate single entrepreneurs operating with limited liability. So that is glory of the corporates, limited liabilities. So have you, at the time of study, you might have read the Solomon and Solomon cases. So companies separate, distinct legal entity, separate from the liability of directors and stakeholders, shareholders. So we have in the OPC, through OPC, we have given that limited liability opportunity. Single person can open a company and do the business. Ultimately, in case of the amalgamation merger, it was earlier with high courts, thereafter NCLT. Now we have divided merger to two parts, 232, and a 233 fast track merger. So fast track merger, we have given a time limit of 60 days. So it is one of the lowest time in the world. Even if you go for a USA, it will take 2 to 3 months. For the small and structured, easy companies. So we have reduced to 60 days for our small companies, subsidiary, holding subsidiary, other startup companies. And this fast track merger, what we have did is reduce the time and not another thing is if you will not do the work within approval within the 60 days, it is auto approval. So 60 days must you get approval. So fast track merger is a good step by the MCA for ease of doing business. Second is CSR compliance. So we have made easy of CSR compliance. Startup and for MSC, we have for small companies we have reduced the fee, lesser penalty and reduced compliance burden, relaxation in board meetings, and a filing requirement for small companies and startups. Another thing is, if in case of inoperative companies, we have also introduced that is dormant company status. So if you are not doing any business, you can make the status dormant. So there is no burden of any compliance on the dormant companies. So relaxation scheme for filing, recently it has come in April 15th and it will continue up to July. So you will file the e-forms with 10% of the additional fees. So producer company reforms, digitization and virtual meeting, we have allowed virtual meetings. So it will reduce the time of the. And last one is, by this way, what points we have derived out of this MCS initiatives. So it is a faster company incorporations, increased transparency and digitizations, reduction in compliance cost, and a better investor confidence, improved ease of doing business, ultimately increase the ranking, world ranking. So हमारे डीजी साहब बताया तो रैंकिंग हैज़ increased from 149 to 63 in 2021-22. So it has now discontinued ease of doing business ranking. So new thing is coming, that is business ready, be ready. So we are also working on that, how to get a good ranking in be ready. So present consultations marks the next logical stage in India's corporate regulatory evolutions. The concept note circulated by the Ministry, IICA, outlines an ambitious and a forward-looking vision for rationalization of the MCA filing through consolidation of forms, modular compliance design, intelligent pre-filled interfaces, expanded straight-through processing, STP modes, and other things also. So I am confident that the deliberation during today's session will generate practical and a constructive recommendation from professionals, industry representatives, a regulator and other stakeholders. I once again compliment the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, my ministry, and IICA and ICAI for organizing this important consultation initiative and for actively engaging stakeholders in shaping the future of India's corporate compliance ecosystems. I extend my best wishes for meaningful discussions and highly productive deliberations. With this, I am ending with thanks.
Thank you, sir.